Welcome to the talk show, Gettin, Gobby. The show where we talk about things. Oh, good morning, everybody. Also, not me completely just like getting lost chatting to you all in the thing and not even realizing the time and that it's, it's time to start. Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Welcome to Gettin Gobby, the talk show that nobody asked for. I feel like I should come up with a more interesting intro than that, but also it's not wrong. No one asked for it, and I'm doing it, and I got a cat hair in my mouth. Oh, it's off of my tongue. And now it's on the tongue. Professional. Sheridan's here, by the way. She's feeling very cuddly this morning. I'm not really sure why she's feeling cuddly, but she's feeling cuddly. I'm your host, Aaron, for those who do not know, but you can call me. Okay, and if she does that one more time, with raving reviews like, new phone, who this, and oh my fucking god, just stop. It's no wonder that tens upon tens of you have been tuning in every week. Today we're talking to a fabulous new creator on Twitch. This person is wholesome, heartwarming, and an absolute snack. It's a funnelkaek! Yeah! Yeah! I didn't realize how aggressive, the yeah was. Until I've heard it back a couple times and I've gone, oh, that's actually aggressively nyah! If that makes sense. Feel free to use !guest in chat to bring up Kaylin's information and social media handles. And before we get into today's discussion, I would like to thank our trusty sponsor. I'm looking into getting some new sponsors for the stream. So I'm very much excited about that. But until then, we're going to thank this sponsor for their continued support on the channel. It's Gatekeepers. Welcome to the talk show, Gettin Gobby, the show where we talk about things. Today's show is sponsored by Gatekeepers. Gatekeepers is an exclusive company who cuts and keeps keys to every LGBTQIA+ safe, lock, home, and sex drawer. Don't want those pesky people using your gay items? Try Gatekeepers today. For the small price of a Twitter feud, you too can have your very own set of keys in which to lock your gates and keep those nasty, normal people away. Thank you, Gatekeepers, for sponsoring today's video. Thank you, Gatekeepers. Now, I'm just going to check the volume of the music because I'm using different music today. But I also want to make sure that it's not overpowering everything. So let me know if the music becomes too much. If you can't hear the music, that's also fine. That's also totally fine. If you can't hear the music or if it's too loud, just let me know at any point. And so thank you for today's sponsor, as I said. For those of you who are not familiar with how Gettin Gobby works, today's discussion is all about our guests, and as such, my focus will primarily be on the conversation. For the sake of respecting our guest and not interrupting the discussion, I may miss out on responding to messages in chat, but please know I'm not intentionally trying to ignore you. I'm simply ensuring complete respect for the time our guest has given us. If you see any new faces in chat or people saying hello, please give them a warm welcome and feel free to use !interview to explain to them how today's stream works. If you have any questions for our guests throughout today's show, we would love to hear from you. It's slightly different this time. There will be time at the end for your questions, so feel free to write them down to ask us later. We're not going to do Ask FM because that website is trash. We tried it for a few episodes. It didn't work. So we're just going to do basically just questions in chat. And before we go ahead, because I said, Aaron, don't tell them about this. They don't need to know about this. I cracked my knuckle during my sleep. And now my finger is so swollen. So swollen. We aren't asking FM anymore. No, unfortunately, we're not. Also, I need to fix that last one. I don't know what I've done there. How do I even show you how swollen my finger is? I don't even know if that's going to work. So I know that doesn't look swollen, but put it next to the finger next to it. Do you see the knuckle in particular, how swollen that is? And if it does help as well, look at my other index finger. So I don't know what I've done. It's not too bad. I'm hoping that just in a few days it'll go down. I'm hoping I didn't jar it or something. Fingers crossed. So without further ado, without me talking about my fingers anymore, let me quickly introduce you guys to Kaylin. No, yes, Kaylin. I nearly said Kaylin because we do have a friend of the stream called Kaylin, but this is Kaylin. English is hard.
Howdy. Welcome to the big top. My name's Kaylin, but you can call me funnelkaek or Miss Cake. It's up to you. I bet you're wondering, who are you? Perhaps I can demonstrate that to you through some clips. We just need a big one, okay? This is your grand scheme? On the top of a tree? Let's take him down, boys. Ah! Not me crying with the red lipstick and the fancy liner! Are they kissing? Gay rights, bitches! Out of my way. Okay. I thought that was some funny stuff. That's just the kind of quality content you can expect here at the big top. The finest quality money can or cannot buy. That's a guarantee. Ring-a-ding-ding. You're a winner, baby.
Ring-a-ding-ding, you're a winner, baby. Hello. How you doing, Kaylin?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I am fan-flippin-tastic. I just realized during that channel trailer, I realized who you remind me of, or the style of comedy that you remind me of. And I don't know if you've heard of Selena Spooky Boo from TikTok.
No.
Okay, for those who do know who Selena Spooky Boo is, I believe I'm saying that name right. She's the woman on TikTok that has all like the sleepwalking videos.
Holy
yes,
shit.
Yes. Yeah. That style of comedy are very like, it's so very like, mwah. It's brilliant. Because it takes
I'm honored.
It takes a very particular like comedic timing. Do you know, I know that you know exactly what I mean, but it takes a very particular comedic timing to kind of pull off that like self-aware awkward because you're not actually awkward, if that makes sense.
Ring-a-ding-ding.
Ring-a-ding. Ring-a-ding-ding. And Fred, my love, happy 11 months, beautiful. Thank you so much for that subscription. That's very, very kind of you. I appreciate that. So let us get into some light Gobby. So first off, if there's anything your channel trailer didn't introduce about yourself, feel free to introduce yourself and like what you do, what you're about. Fill in the details.
Yes, sure. So, hi everyone. First I just want to say, like, as a member of Aaron's community, I am so honored to be here. Secondly, yeah, my channel trailer. So, I realized like I barely said funnelkaek in it. That is like the name I go by on Twitch. And I also realized that I actually never specified like how you say the games that I play. And it had already been edited. And I was like, they'll figure it out. But I play a lot of Nintendo games. I was raised on Nintendo. So my parents are both like #gamers, or they were when they were raising me. My mom like totally raised me on the Legend of Zelda series. So every Sunday we play a Zelda game. We call it Zelda. And every Thursday we call it Switch It Up Thursday, where we only play Switch games and we like switch it up halfway through.
Oh, she's got a double meaning.
Stuff. Oh, I'm good with the entendre.
Oh, we do love. I do want to quickly welcome in JSM. Thank you so much for that raid, my love. I appreciate you bringing over your friends. Welcome in JSM, Tyler, Nao, Casual Root. For those who don't know, this is funnelkaek, so feel free to go and check out funnelkaek. So thank you so much for that raid. I really, really appreciate it. And team, if you've not gone to check out JSM, please go and do so. Check them a follow, do all those wonderful, kind, supportive things. And if we could also get a shout out for JSM. At any time you remember to my beautiful mods who are here, if at any moment in the stream you're like, oh, that's right, JSM rated, give them a shout out, please. At any moment.
Yes, thank you, mods.
Thank you, mods. Thank you, sponsor. Thank you, sponsor. Yes. Beautiful. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just didn't want them to come in and be like, oh, he's ignoring us.
No, all is well.
So we've got Switch It Up Thursdays, where we play Switch games only, and we switch it up halfway through.
Indeed. So it's a lot of Nintendo on my channel, and it's a lot of RPGs, indie games, sometimes cozy stuff. I just started doing a co-op farm with Stardew, which has been really fun. Stardew Valley is so fun. Oh my
It's so
gosh.
good.
So yeah, originally I was like going by this kind of cozy streamer title, and then like a month into streaming, I was like, I am not the coziest
Mm.
person. I feel like I am much more chaotic, which I'm very happy with, always have been. And so I've kind of landed on that, but I'm perfectly happy with being that way. And I shout out to all the cozy streamers out there.
Mm.
You provide me with vibes. I feel that I do not replicate. I do my own things.
Yes. I mean, my community often mentions, like, Aaron, you're so, relaxing and like cozy to watch. So I'm really glad that I can be providing a cozy space for people where they can come
Very
and
much.
they know exactly what they're going to get. And it's very calm and it's very relaxed.
Hmm.
Every stream, isn't it? Sorry, I just had to put my community in line. Be cozy.
Like a lullaby.
Please. Be cozy. And Julian, welcome in as well. So I guess the next question is, and this is again, like we kind of discussed a little bit earlier, like this is up to you as to how deep you want to get into this, but how are you genuinely?
Good.
Yeah. I'm glad to hear that you're good. That response
I'm
is
good
everything we needed. That was everything we needed. We're good overall.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I feel
get
ya. I get ya. I get ya. I'm having the same thing. I'm not sure if you
Yeah.
know, Sydney's back in lockdown.
I heard you
I
say that.
know.
How are you doing with that?
It's been different this time around, actually, compared to first time. So first
Yeah.
time I was very like, oh my God, thank God, I needed a break from everything and da-da-da. Like, this would be great, not realizing the actual depth and breadth of what the lockdown was and what it was for. Now that I understand what it's for and I'm seeing all the rule breaking and I'm seeing the exemptions that people think they're under, it's taking more of a toll of like,
Yeah.
I'm becoming the angry person watching someone break a rule and realizing that this is why communism doesn't work. I'm watching someone break a rule and be like, what the fuck? Well, if they're breaking a rule, why the fuck am I here? Da, da, da. That's where we're at with this. It's not looking like we're going to come out of it in a week, if that makes sense. So we were meant to be 2 weeks. I think it's going to go on for a little bit longer. And this one's also affecting me a little bit more as well because my nan is actually in hospital and I can't visit her. Not a sympathy thing, team, don't. I'm not trying to be like, my life is so hard. But yeah, it just, to be honest, it just hits a little bit differently like this.
Yeah.
So that's how I am genuinely.
valid.
Sorry to trauma dump you there. Question.
No, not
Question. Who is getting gobbied this week? Now, before you answer, let me explain. For those of you who are not aware, in Australian culture, gobby also means blowjob, and I am blessed to have this as my legal last name. So that is why all of my branding is Gobby, because I have decided to lean in to the fact that my parents chose the name. We could have been Bennett. But instead we are Sucky Sucky Dicky Dicky. So who is getting gobbied this week and why?
You know, anyone who deserves it, truly. It could be anyone. It could be your next door neighbor. It could be, your dad. It could be anyone. Look around. And that's why we need to treat everyone just with absolute kindness,
Because
you don't know who's getting gobbied.
Yeah.
You know?
We don't know. We don't
And
know
who's not.
Yeah, and we don't know who's getting their dick sucked. For me, the people getting their dick sucked this week would have to be the people who are part of the hotel quarantine party in Sydney. So in a hotel that also sometimes takes quarantine people, like people to quarantine, there was a house party when we're all under a stay-at-home order in a hotel to celebrate football.
Oh.
Yes, so they can enjoy playing with their balls while I'm not allowed to. That's fine. You do you. But that's who's getting gobbied this week. But I'm also still thinking about the fact that you said it could be your dad. And I'm sitting there going, you know what? It really could be. It could be any of our dads. That fucking got me so good.
It's funny. I think the connotation maybe it's different because in America it's like if you're sucking someone's dick, you're sucking up. You know what I mean? You're
Oh,
sucking up to them.
oh.
So the connotation is completely different,
Very
actually,
different,
which I
actually,
didn't
yeah.
realize. So if like you're sucking someone's dick, you're like you're kissing ass. You're like
Oh,
trying to,
here in
yeah.
Australia, we don't really do a lot of like subtext. We're very dumb. So
Oh,
everything we
okay.
say
No.
is very literal. Like if we say sucking
Mm,
dick, we're talking about that action. I love
love
that
it. Got it.
I love that I just got prude about saying sucking dick as if I haven't already said it 17 times throughout today's stream. Fucking hell, I'm annoying. Okay. So we've done a bit of light gobby. Now you understand the
Yeah.
categories. We've done a bit of light gobby. You know, we've warmed up. Now we're going to get into some decent gobby. It's
Love
decent
that.
gobby time. How did you find Twitch? Because I actually
Right.
don't know your
Okay.
origin story with Twitch.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So, it. I'm gonna trace it back to beginning of the pandemic, 2020.
Sure.
Um, I was still in school when the pandemic began. I was in my senior year of college, and I had one more semester to go. So I had half of a semester left when the pandemic broke out. So, leading into it, I was very excited because I studied film and English in college. So I had actually landed like a post grad job with a production company that I was very excited to be working with. I had met with the producer there, and like we connected, we clicked, and I was very excited to get into it. And then the pandemic broke out. And so, as we know, all the industries collapsed, film being a major one. So we saw it all play out. And every single month I would email him and he would just not have anything for me. And it wasn't his fault. It was just the industry was dead. It was very difficult to make media in the traditional way that we knew how. So he just didn't have anything for a then recent grad with no real industry sort of training.
Yeah.
But that also wasn't my fault. So,
Yeah.
whatever.
Hashtag
Anyway,
Pandorama.
whatever. I actually at first in like November or something, I moved in with my boyfriend, and I was still unemployed. I still cannot find a job. I applied to so many different places. It just wasn't working, and I was, how you say, depressed. So I needed something so desperately, even though I had just made these incredible moves, like getting this apartment with my boyfriend, and I had adopted 2 cats, and I was like really like fulfilling myself in these ways. But I was just so creatively unfulfilled, and so like I need to spend my time doing something because I'm going crazy. So I actually downloaded TikTok and I started doing like fashion kind of thrift stuff. Sort of like helping bigger girls just kind of figure out how to navigate the fashion industry and like how I throw outfits together. And I did a whole challenge where I had a box of 100 different color cards from Pantone, and I would pick 2 out every day and make an outfit with it. So I also was learning how to like throw different colors schemes together and all that stuff. And then after a while, after that challenge ended and everything, I was like, I need something new.
Yeah.
I need new. I need new. I'm done. I'm over it. So, I made a Twitch, and for about a month, I was just kind of like on Twitch. I knew what it was. But I made a Twitch just to kind of like see what was on there, what kind of content people were making. And also, how did it start? I feel like I looked up a specific video game or something, and I found someone. But yeah, so I was just kind of like looking around for a while, and then I was like, you know what? I could do this. I could do this. Because I have I only, like we were talking about before, I only have one monitor. I have a gaming laptop that wasn't even bought originally for sorry,
No,
for gaming purposes.
choke on that, Gobby, all you like.
Oh no. No, so I bought it originally. Well, I didn't buy it. My parents very graciously up a payment plan for this laptop.
Yeah.
Or was originally for video editing purposes. So because a lot of the same like processors and stuff are required for a video editing software. So I had that already, and then I also conveniently had a camera because again, film major. So I kind of had everything I needed. And then the mic, actually, my boyfriend has, because he like does some music kind of animation stuff. So I kind of was like, I have the tools.
Yeah.
I just need the resources. And then there you go. That's Twitch.
I love it. It was kind of like it sounds like a culmination of like things that were already kind of set up without you even realizing that they were set up to work for that particular thing, which is kind of really cool.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of wish if I had known about Twitch earlier and I was smarter, I would have like gone to a few streams for a little bit before setting up my own, which is what I think you kind of did. You were like kind of gauging the platform and whatnot. I just went like, I went in dry. I was so stupid. But the first stream I watched was my stream. Like I watched 15 minutes of Julian Solometer and was like, oh, this is something I would want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that easy. Just turn on a camera and play a game. It's so simple. Jesus, no. So having been on the platform and obviously being a viewer and a streamer on the platform, what is one thing that you would change about Twitch?
Oh.
If you could.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm sending this straight to Twitch head office, so...
Right. No, that makes sense. Okay, well then Twitch, listen up, okay, bitch? I'm not messing around. 4 major Aries placements. Let's not try it, all right? Let's make discoverability a thing, actually, for smaller streamers. Please, sorry.
It just caught me so off guard because I'm used to seeing myself commit to a joke and a bit like that, but seeing someone do it while I'm watching is just,
Yeah.
Brilliant. Sorry, Twitch, you bitch. Let's go.
Yeah. And it rhymes, so you know it's real.
So you know she's Dr. Seuss.
Yeah. Exactly. But no, so I mean, I think obviously I feel like I'm not saying anything novel here, but the discoverability for smaller streamers is very tough to the point where you can't grow your channel unless you are on the other social media platforms. I feel like part of the reason, and again, it's only part because I also think that going in and sort of building community before I had my own channel, I also think has helped. But I mean, I have to go to TikTok. I have to go to Twitter to like put the hashtags out there. I have to watch YouTube videos, all these things. And then this is even made harder when you have a person of color or you have, neurodivergent people. It's harder for all of these intersections of people to get discovered and not be bogged down by this algorithm that wants to see them fail. So I don't know how I would go about doing it, but I feel like it wouldn't be that hard to like install some kind of thing where it's like channels under 500 followers, channels with an average of less than 20. And then it's like a tab, and then you can go through the tags and you can put in LGBTQ individuals. You can put in OCD.
That's a great
or
idea.
ADHD.
That's a fucking great idea.
You know what I mean? So I feel like it wouldn't, you know what? It's not that hard.
No, it's not.
It's actually not that hard.
The problem is that either Amazon is not giving Twitch the resources or Twitch is not asking for the resources all the time to put research into their budget because, I don't know if you know this, Twitch, but there's platforms out there with discoverability. So if someone's worked out how to do it, look at how they do it. It doesn't seem like it's rocket science, and yet for them they're like, so sorry, cannot, just compute, as if it's this whole massive thing that we're asking for. Because I completely agree with you. When I was first starting, the struggle that I don't think people realize is that in order for someone to find your stream, if you have less than 3 viewers, they have to go through everybody else in every category, get right to the bottom, and then within that bottom, they have to sift through everybody that is in the bottom of that category and find one thing they like about your stream. And click yours out of hundreds of people. Hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Even in small categories where it's like niche markets, like The Sims is considered on Twitch a relatively smaller market. It's not pulling in, like your Dead by Daylight, 65,000 viewers.
Right.
So, but even within that, the communities are so saturated because everyone wants to stream. And the problem with that is that within that, you get a mix of obviously people who want to stream, and then people who are streaming because they feel like they should, and then people who are streaming there's no way to filter those who are like, hey, I'm here to actually make, improve, and grow content, not just stream like gameplay. So I think it's interesting. I've never heard of that. Well, you mentioned it before. It was brilliant. It was the under 500 followers category, or even like under 100 categories, or under less than 5 average viewers. That's such a great way, and such an easy way, because Twitch already has those numbers in their system. They just need to work out how to filter by that. That's brilliant. I've not heard of that before. That's just...
Thank you. That was off the top of my head. You like that?
Look at that. Give them a job, everyone. Give them a job. Film major. Film major. So, you mentioned this before as well. That you didn't mention your Twitch name in the channel trailer. But what is the origin story of your Twitch name? Like, where did that kind of come from?
Okay, so this one's fun. My grandmother, and her dad, so my grandmother's dad, it goes back, owned a concessions business. So it began with, waffles and ice cream and the cotton candy stands, the funnel cake, and all of those concessions business, and they go around to fairs, carnivals. And so they pop up at these different fairs around the area, sort of like 2 hours up north or 2 hours to the west or whatever down south. By 2 hours or so each way. And that was my Grammy's business. And so it was my dad's first job when he came to America. He's from Canada. And so when he met my mom and everything, and he couldn't get a job anywhere else, he worked for my Grammy. And then when I wanted to work earlier, and this might sound crazy, but when I was 12, I was like, I'm ready to work. Put me in. Tap me in. So I started working when I was 12 in the funnel cake stand, as the person up front, taking the money, serving up the funnel cakes, grabbing the drinks. So I'm good at the quick maths, I'm bad at, the long maths. But give me the quick maths. I got you. 15 minus 7, 8. 6 plus 5, 11. I can do it. Put me in. So I would work at the funnel cake stand.
I was trying to explain before. I was like, when we first rated you, right? You have the clip of me speaking. I'm like, I found this person. I don't understand how they only have X amount of followers, because the way that you held yourself, the confidence you had with your delivery of everything was so... I was sitting there being like, fuck, I wish I had that kind of... Okay, all right. Pick up my God. So then I was like, when you mentioned, when I mentioned, I was like, oh, I want you on the show. And you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm necessarily qualified or da-da-da. I was like, shut the fuck up. Yes, you are. You're fucking brilliant. And now I'm so glad that my community is getting to, because obviously they know you from the chat, but is getting to see you as a person. Because I watched one stream of yours and I was like, I need to talk to this person. I need to force this person to spend time with me, because that's literally what this is. It's me just forcing people I really like to spend an hour with me. I'm just forcing people to talk. But I love that origin story.
Expedia? How much for the flight?
What is that thing? WikiLeaks. I've got something for you. So I actually, funny you touch on that, because I actually worked in my family business as well from the time I was about 10, 11 or 12. But mine was, you guys are going to love this. I was a pool boy. And
love it.
I would either do the testing, the water testing. So I felt like I was a chemist. I wasn't a chemist. But then when I was old enough, I would go around to clean people's pools, physically go and clean their pools. And then when I was old enough, I'd be the little scrawny gay boy that rocks up and was like, hi, I'm here to fix your pump. And they'd be like, oh, are they sending in a technician? I was like, I'm the technician. And they were like,
what you're looking for.
They're like, are you really? I was like, yeah. They're like, should we talk to your boss? I was like, he's my dad, so you can talk to him as much as you like. My dad actually fired me 3 times.
That's hysterical.
He fired me so many times. He was like, one of the excuses was you don't crush the tablets quick enough for the water testing. The second one.
Oh, yes, okay.
The second one was that I didn't want to take on an extra shift after having worked 6 shifts that week. You'll know, as a family business, I'm not sure what it was like for you, but if you're not helping out the business, you're dead to the family. Dead.
Yeah.
It's like so dramatic.
It's resentment.
They
It's
take it
deep-seated.
so personally. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't come. I've got an event on. So you don't care about your job. I'm like, you know
Oh.
what? To be honest, I don't care about my job. I'm actually just here to make some money, even though you could be giving this to me for free, but I'm not. I'm fucking working.
It's like, actually, cancel the turkey. No Thanksgiving this year. You wanted to come to work then.
Well, you can tell your mother when you see her that we're not on speaking terms. Okay, fine.
Oh my goodness.
Which actually, funnily enough, that bleeds into another question, because I was going to ask you like about the fun like motif of Big Top being part of your channel.
Yeah.
But it kind of bleeds in, doesn't it? It kind of makes sense that going
Yeah, it
around to
does.
circuses and the history of your family with the concession stalls, and that's so cool. I
Oh, yeah.
love seeing like where it all comes from, because I mean, I'm assuming a lot of people come along, they're like, oh, cool, circus theme, cool, without realizing like the sentimentality that comes along with the way that you present your channel and your name and whatnot.
Oh yeah, and I'm very thankful for my many years in the funnelkaek stand, because it's really on like a serious note, like it's taught me a lot of like business practices. It's taught me marketing, it's taught me branding, it's taught me how to communicate with people, it's taught me to have a longer span of patience with people. The things I've heard. Oh my god. We were at a spot, and we gave this person a funnel cake. 5 minutes later, they come back. The funnel cake is still full, and there's a bee on it. And they're like, a bee landed on my funnel cake. And I was like, oh no, so sorry. They were like, so can we get another one? I was like, ma'am, we're outside. It's not just napkin. Here's a napkin.
Pick.
Like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. No, you're not getting another funnel cake, babe. It's not even eaten. No. No.
It's funny how people like, they feel so entitled to to free stuff, don't they? They just go, oh, this is inconvenient to me, so I'm actually going to inconvenience you.
Yeah.
And that's how it's going to work. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a long line. You know what I mean? They cut right to the front. It's like, no, there's nothing wrong. It's you just take it off.
Yeah.
Lead the bee to a flower. I have ideas. You could use one of them.
Here's a post-it note. I actually wrote some down earlier. There you go.
Yeah. But no, I'm very thankful for my time there. My dad no longer works there, and I usually don't go back because they've found other help and whatnot, and I've moved on to sort of my own thing. But I'm very thankful for my time there. As well as just for all the tasty foods over the years, and like the tickets. Like, you don't understand. When I was a kid, I had the hookup. Like, I would have my friends over to the carnival. Who wants a wristband?
You were the shit.
Oh, we're riding the zipper. Okay, yeah. Who needs a wristband? Grammy? And she's just like,
you just got like a line, and it's like, so what are you gonna give us? What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I don't want your shitty fucking candy bracelet, Susan.
It's like,
find something else. Give me the cat. I want the cat.
Dad, we'll take an order of Oreos.
I'm glad that you got so many things from your family business, because I think from mine, most of the things I got was I didn't get out what my parents wanted me to get out of it. They wanted me to be like, understand the value of money and da-da-da. And all I understood was that I don't like working in jobs that I don't like, and I hate working for other people. That's what it taught me. So I feel like it actually made me more entitled than if I hadn't worked at all. Because at the end of it, I was like, oh my God, if I'm even slightly inconvenienced, this job is just not for me. Like, I honestly just can't. I worked in supermarkets, I worked in all those things, and every time there was like the tiniest thing, I was awful, because I knew that like if I just stopped turning up, I wouldn't get shifts. So I didn't quit so many jobs. I actually went into one of my jobs every week to cross out my shifts on the timesheet and just didn't come in. I was awful. I was awful. Don't force your kids to work if they're so violently against it. Just don't give them money if they don't work. Simple.
That's funny.
Simple. Yeah.
Oh my
so
God.
it made me a worse person, I think. You have 2 cats. I have 2 cats. When are we going to tell people that we are in fact the same person? When did you want to release that?
I didn't think. I thought it'd be after the stream.
Oh, you wanted to... I'll scrap the I'll scrap the question.
Next question.
Clear the VOD, clear the VOD, clear the fucking VOD. And stream. We're up to my favorite segment. Now, this is the mini game, and I love me a mini game. When I'm creating these like questions and whatnot, this is the thing I get so excited about, because every time I want it to be like different and a different style of humor, a different kind of like whole thing. So this thing, team, and you guys can actually play along with this today if you want. This is alternate movie plots. So how this works, I'm going to give you a movie plot essentially for a very famous, very well-known film, but it's worded from a completely different perspective. It's like the most ridiculous way of describing this film that it almost, when you hear the answer, you're going to be like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I see where that happens. Having heard it for the first time, you're probably gonna be like, what the fuck? So the idea is that you can brainstorm, you can chuck out ideas. There are little hints given throughout these descriptions that are either like quotes from the movie or like iconic scenes from the movie that I'm playing on. So, Kaylin, are you ready?
Yes.
Yeah. Tentative, let's go. So, question 1. And again, team, you guys can play as well, and you can consult with the chat if you would like to.
Okay,
as
chat.
To brainstorm some ideas.
You and me.
It's you and me, baby. For if you don't know, actually, Kaylin, Leah also is a little bit of a film industry buff herself.
Yes.
Yes. Leah's been very excited about this, and I've been very excited for Leah to play this game. So, question.
Oh my god, I love it.
Question 1. Which 2004 film follows the story of a young high school girl who discovers she fantasizes about large furry orgies in public areas while simultaneously infiltrating those orgies to be leader of the pack? And again, you can always say like, can I please hear it one more time? Or can I have it slower? You can always ask for more info.
Well, immediately my mind went to Mean Girls. I heard 2004 film starring a woman, and I was like, Mean Girls.
Would you want to hear it one more time?
One more time, please.
Which 2004 film follows the story of a young high school girl who discovers she fantasizes about large furry orgies in public areas while simultaneously infiltrating those orgies to be leader of the pack? Ooh,
I am
adorably.
seeing Mean Girls in chat.
Twilight's a good one as well. That's a good one as well. Oh, Sarah also mentioned in film. All right, okay, we get it. We're all fucking filmatic. Jesus Christ.
Oh my god. Okay. Twilight I think was like 2007.
Oh,
but I think I'm gonna go with Mean Girls.
You're gonna go with Mean Girls?
Yeah.
Hang on, where's my little thingy? You can't hear this, but we're cheering. Ding, ding, ding. Ring a ding, ding, as you would say. It is Bloody Mean Girls. Very, very nice. This one might throw you. This one might throw you for a bit of a loop. Question 2.
Okay.
Which other 2004 film showcases the power of covering your face so people like you, the importance of rain in a drought, and the percentage of moisture within cookies being directly linked to overcoming rejection and disappointment?
Say Less, another Cinderella story starring Hilary Duff. Formative for me. Final answer.
Bing, bang, bong. Yes, it is indeed a Cinderella story. There's more cheers. You can't hear it, but there is more cheers. Very well done. Now, obviously, as these go on, I try to be a little more discreet with them. I wanted to kind of give you a gist of how it's going to work, and then make them a little more. I mean, look, I thought I was being really clever, but I'm also probably just being really too fucking on the nose. Question 3. In 2011, a groundbreaking film was released which changed the course of the film industry forever. This movie involved telepathic dolphins, lesbian trips to Paris, defecation on public streets in unpaid-for garments, and a show-stopping scene depicting the characteristics of a penis coming towards your face. What was this life-changing film?
Now, my instinct is Bridesmaids. And I see Bubble Tea is on the same wavelength, and I'm not going to ignore the gut. So let's lean into it. I will go with Bridesmaids.
It is indeed Bridesmaids. More cheering!
Let's go!
I mean, did they study film in college or did they study fucking film in college? They're like, oh, oh. Question 4. In this movie series, a young, closeted boy discovers he's fabulous, defiant, and like really special. He learns how to point his very special stick at any individual he can. Friends, family, people he's just met. This film features many phallic motifs such as tunnels, snakes, men sharing bedrooms, multiple male stick on male stick scenes, and non-gender specific handjobs for long, thin, pointy objects. What is this iconic franchise?
It is the Harry Potter series.
It is indeed the Harry Potter series with many, many gay underlies. But again,
absolutely.
Again, we do not support J.K. Rowling or anything that she says.
We do not.
She is trash.
Garbage.
And also to further that one, any transphobia, people who believe in being transphobic is, well, they're trash. They're trash. So
yeah, I mean, you said it. Yeah.
The final question. The final
question. God, okay.
This one I was really proud of. J.K. can roll himself out. Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
Yes, that was a good one. Bloody hell, Harry. All right. Question 5, the final question. In this 2001 film, we follow the story of a girl whose grandmother suffers from hallucinations. She has created a world in which does not exist and believes herself to rule over its lands, hoping to one day pass on this fantasy to her granddaughter, who desperately records everything in a journal no one remembers seeing. A hopeless and heartbreaking tale of delusion, white privilege, and hair straighteners. This film touched the hearts of many average to good-looking teenagers who believe that with a full team of stylists, they too could one day rule a land that doesn't exist. What is the name of this film?
Why did my mind go to Shrek?
Ooh, okay. Do you want to hear it one more time? Because there was a lot in that one.
There was a lot in this one. I see some Princess Diaries in the chat. That could be it. I would like to hear it again, yes.
Yes. In this 2001 film, we follow the story of a girl whose grandmother suffers from hallucinations. She has created a world in which does not exist and believes herself to rule over its lands, hoping to one day pass on this fantasy to her granddaughter who, desperately records everything in a journal no one remembers seeing. A hopeless and heartbreaking tale of delusion, white privilege, and hair straighteners. This film touched the hearts of many average to good-looking teenagers who believe that with a full team of stylists, they too could one day rule a land that doesn't exist. What is the name of this film?
Yeah, you know what? Chat, thank you. I do believe it is Princess Diaries.
It is indeed Princess Diaries. Does anybody ever remember seeing a journal? What are we doing diaries
She's on the plane. Yeah. Right? And she's writing in the,
For one scene? Was it one scene? They named the movie after her writing in her journal for one scene? Why wasn't it like they should have just called it like the princess and the gay guy that straightened her hair. Like they should have just.
No, true. I think it was more like the diary is like as a metaphor. The diary is somewhere you go to lay all your secrets out, and so therefore the movie is a princess living her life as a diary, therefore, you know, living her truth, you know, becoming more transparent with her emotions.
Yes, or if you're less educated, it should have been called Princess and Why the Fuck is Everyone Treating Me Differently Now That They Think I'm Royal? That should be the title. Yes. If you didn't study film, that's the title. If you did study film, it's Princess Diaries. The 4-year age gap between Princess Diaries 1 and 2, but the movie was like 2 years between each other. Look, Leah, we can either confirm or deny this. We don't necessarily want to dox anyone, but what I will say is Julie Andrews didn't have a say in the creation of that. Yes, I'm so sorry. So, thank you for playing that minigame. I had so much fun last night being like, how on earth do I repurpose an entire film and like capture it in a little thing? Very fun for me to do at 10 p.m.
That was so much fun. I loved it.
Now we're into some deep Gobby. We've had some decent Gobby. Yeah. We've played a bit of a game. We've done some light Gobby. This is the deep Gobby. And like I mentioned earlier, I will just remind you, these are just, we can go into these as deep as you want, or it can be as surface level as you want as well. You don't have to answer any of these questions. You don't have to go into the topics of these questions. Just wanted to put that out there. This is completely up to you as to how far or how not far. English. We go into it. I also know you majored in English in college, so don't come at me for my grammar. So, as someone who uses she, they pronouns, do you find people are respectful and mindful of correctly using them? And how do you find society as a whole is moving towards accepting people with pronouns other than on the binary of she, her, and he, him?
Right. Okay. So I first want to say that I have only recently started using she, they pronouns, only this year. And it was sort of just, there was a lot of talk on TikTok about, sort of this universal feeling amongst primarily women, but also some men, of like not having to perform their gender because we were stuck inside, because meeting with other people was dangerous, because we were not going to be perceived as much in the public eye. What did that do to our own self-expression and how we perceive ourselves when we're not being looked at, when we're not being analyzed, when eyes aren't on us? And so a lot of people realized that performing femininity was taxing, and that they didn't really relate to being a woman, right? So once I saw this kind of discourse taking place, I've always had this thing. So I'm going to take this back to high school. I'm sorry, I'm jumping all over the place.
No, go for gold. We love a timeline.
So yeah, so in high school, I went to a performing arts school. So I did theater for 4 years. So half the day we would do theater classes and half the day we would do our typical academia. So English, math, whatever. What happened was, this was a very gay school. So what happened was, a lot of femme men in my class. What ended up happening was, I played a lot of men in high school for the productions, in scenes, in monologues, for smaller scale projects and for larger scale projects. I played a lot of men, a lot of men. And I know obviously that we don't know each other that well, and Chad doesn't know me that well, but it wasn't even that I wasn't feminine in high school. It was just simply that I have actually PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is where I have naturally higher occurring levels of testosterone. So my hair goes in really thick, really fast. My voice is deeper. It's like more rich. It's my cycles are off. Sort of like these things that come with it, right? So I don't know if this like resulted in me just appearing more masculine, or the way I presented myself was more masculine. I don't know. Whatever it was, everyone deemed it masculine enough to be playing men in these productions, which I took no issue with. I had a lot of fun playing men, honestly, but it was at the point where, like, if I played a woman, I was like, oh my god.
Oh, she is the fantasy.
That's what, actually, in my final play that I got to be in high school, I got to be a woman, and I was like, wow. The way I presented it to everyone coming, I was like, guys, I'm playing a woman. Don't miss this. You want to get out here.
Once in a lifetime opportunity.
Guess what? And I didn't think about like I didn't think anything of it. I thought nothing of it. And so then when I got to college and I was doing something new, and it wasn't necessarily about all eyes being on me or whatever, I really began to lean into sort of like expressing my femininity more. And it's not that I wasn't before. It was just like I was going hard into it. I was going full fashion icon, full makeup looks, full face, beat to the gods, like walking down my campus and expecting everyone to look at me because I am wearing heels to class, okay? Heels. I want you to look at me. I'm wearing heels. And I've got a full face. Like, it's happening. I was out there. My goal was like, I need to be the smart bitch, the hot bitch, and the funny bitch. I'm a triple threat. Like, I needed people to know. Just by looking at me. I walk into the coffee shop. There she goes. Who is she? Like, I needed people to know. I needed people to know. And so, like, throughout college, I didn't really question anything. I really didn't. And then we sort of got to this point we are now last year. Well, I guess not right now then. But last year, and I was like, oh, I don't have to, like, get dressed. And again, at the beginning of quarantine, we all thought we were going back. I had packed for like a week. For about 2 months, I had like 4 outfits. And I was like, I feel empty. I was like, this is my wardrobe. This is what I'm working with. And it almost sounds materialistic, but I don't think it is. It was just more of, I was so used to expressing myself in this very bombastic, very external way. And when I wasn't, and when I couldn't, I like fell apart. I was like not myself at all. I was depressed as hell. I like really, we could go out and take walks and stuff, but I didn't want to. And it was a lot for me. And I really only sort of started to question all of this recently in 2021. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm comfortable with being called a woman, but I was like, I feel like I'm also just being comfortable being referred to as non-binary. And so I've sort of taken on this realization that I think I identify most as genderqueer. And I don't think that applies to everyone who goes by she, they pronouns. I think that for everyone, it's a very specific personal decision. For me, it's sort of like, I am all of that woman, but I'm also all of that.
Yeah.
Not. For me, it's like so much duality is within me. Having PCOS, having this naturally occurring testosterone levels like being higher than the average cisgendered woman. I was like, I feel like anything I do is almost challenging that, because I feel I am so femme, because I feel I am so into the idea of what I'm trying to say, sort of not artifice, the like feminine sort of artifice, the bimbofication, that sort of thing. Because there's been this recent movement of bimbos, right? Reclaiming the word bimbo and what that means, redefining it as this more incredibly socially in tune activist, while being highly femme, while having your boobs out, while wearing makeup, while having blonde hair, while wearing the 6-inch heels. All while being smart as heck.
Yeah.
All while being like, you know, incredibly charming, and just turning that on its head has been incredibly like interesting for me to watch happen, because I feel like more than anything, I get that. I'm with that. So for me, like using she, they pronouns, it's more like, how could one gender hold me?
Yeah, very
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I'm too much.
Sense.
I'm too much.
I'm too much. One label? No.
Not for me.
Not for me. But that's just me. And again, that's not everyone who goes by she, they pronouns. For some people, it's more like they don't actually feel comfortable identifying as female, but they don't quite feel comfortable with non-binary either, so they gravitate to both.
Yeah.
For some people, it's just easier. For some people, it's just more of like an aesthetic choice, and it can come down to that. And I think it's important that even if it is like just an aesthetic choice, I had this really interesting class in college. And it was human sexuality. And I remember it to this day. She was like, you know, when we talk about LGBTQIA plus people, we talk about how they didn't choose it, so it's okay. Obviously, they're born being this way, so it's okay. And she said, I want to challenge that and say, what if someone were to choose being gay? What if someone were to choose being queer, and why isn't that okay? Is someone less valid because it's an autonomous choice? You know what I mean? So I think it's important that, you know, there are things you can't change about people, obviously, and that people are very valid, but what if someone were to choose it? And why wouldn't that be okay if that was how they felt in that moment? And so I think like, and I'm going to throw a book recommendation out there too. The Xenofeminist Manifesto by Laboria Cubonics. I can like write that in chat. But it's an incredible, it's very, it's a long ass title. But it really helped me sort of put into words how I felt. There it is. That's it.
Oh, I haven't.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, it's a lot of words, and it's very dense. I will say that. It's short, but it's very dense. But she argues she argues in that book that rather than escaping labels, to work towards a future where there is a surplus of labels, where there are labels beyond to help everyone just feel included and feel like their most authentic selves. And so that sure, that's what a mood.
Milo.
But that, but that's but I think about that all the time, and so that was something that I really resonated with, and so I try to remind myself a lot. But yeah, so that's just how I feel, and like where as a society, if I think it's becoming more accepting or whatever, I think we are. I feel like every day I log onto Twitter and someone's like, I use he they pronouns now, or I use exclusively they them, or I use they she he, or I use neo pronouns. Twitter or in my Discord or in other people's Discords or on TikTok, and I feel like it's just happening more and more with the rising with Gen Z and everything. I feel like, I don't know, we're becoming more and more accepting, and
I think people really underestimate the intelligence of Gen Z. I think there's a lot of this idea that the older you are, the wiser you are, but I also think there's this really unspoken notion of the older you are, the more stubborn you are to stick with your beliefs. Like, when you're young and you're developing and you're growing and you're coming up, especially now with the, you know, with social media being possibly one of the biggest educators out there, I would argue possibly the biggest educator for the young generation out there, because it's not just one or two people putting information there or sitting you down in front of a class. It is billions of people who all have ideas and opinions and knowledge that are pulling it together into these almost infinite resources. I mean, there's no way that you could watch YouTube every single moment of your day and finish every bit of content on there. Even if you just picked one category. I think there's this really stupid idea that, oh, young people don't know what they're talking about. Well, maybe that's your excuse because you don't know what you're talking about, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah,
no, fully. Yeah. And it's hurtful to a point too, because I'm like at the very, I guess, beginning of Gen Z. So it's weird, like, and I always felt like I have two sisters and they're younger than me, and I always felt like there was a huge age gap, but I feel like I was kind of born into this era where it was like, I have like views of like millennials, and like growing up I was told I was a millennial, and then like all of a sudden it's like, nope, you're Gen Z. And so I like, there's also this like feeling of just like not fitting in anywhere that I feel like has contributed to like, at least my personal overall, like, where do I even like fit in? Like, doesn't matter. Also, do I want to fit in? No, not really. So it's like kind of all of these feelings and mixture of emotions. And also I want to say that furthering your point about sort of the attack on sort of the younger generation, the sort of misconception of being intelligent, I feel like a lot of it comes down to like, oh, the new generation is so sensitive. They, you know, they can't take a joke, blah, 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 blah. And
all right,
it's like,
racist
okay,
Bill, like,
well,
shut up.
Yeah, one, you're not funny. Two, two, so what if we are raising more sensitive people? Sensitivity is not negative. Sensitivity is, you know, recognizing your boundaries, is recognizing emotional intelligence, how to communicate with people effectively, you know? So I think that, you know, this perception of sensitivity from the older crowd is not, it's not conducive, I think, to a more empathic civilization.
I think there's this interesting thing where a lot of people put it behind comedy and they say, oh, it was just a joke, no one can take a joke anymore. And then when you actually break it down, you can kind of say to them like, well, I mean, sure, you call it a joke and other people call it generational trauma that's been going on from either genocide or land being stolen or family being stolen or all of this stuff. So if you get a laugh out of it, great. But we don't want to fucking hear it. So you can laugh to your own little gross little Twitter group that you've got, go for gold. And the rest of us will just ignore you like we're going to do anyway when you're no longer relevant. So there's this interesting idea that being sensitive or having feelings or emotions, and I've actually experienced this a lot within like relationships, because obviously dating men, for those who don't know, I date men, dating men, you get all of the misogyny and entitlement of it being a man with all of the insecurity and trauma of it being part of the LGBTQIA plus community. Not saying that all members of that community come with trauma or insecurities, but it is a very big part of being queer is having those kind of things put on you by external forces. So there's this very interesting notion that, you know, don't cry, don't be weak. You have to be mask for mask, especially within the gay community, or you can't present as feminine or da 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 da. I remember when I bought my sequin suit, funnily enough, because I think it's interesting in the conversation you were having about clothing, to touch on the first thing you mentioned in like high school and stuff, that, you know, you weren't sure what it was that was making other people perceive you as more masculine or da 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 da.
Yeah.
I actually don't think that has anything to do with you. I think that has everything to do with them, funnily enough.
Yeah.
Because no matter how you present, they're going to perceive it with their own preconceived notions or ideas of what they consider masculine, feminine, or non-binary, or somewhere along that line, or even if it's not a line, a circle somewhere within that spectrum or realm. So it's interesting that fashion then became your way of expressing your gender, because maybe subconsciously, look, I'm not a psychologist, don't fucking have a go at me. But Marissa, welcome in. That we present in a way that we want to be perceived, if that makes sense. And sometimes when we hyper present, as you were mentioning before, maybe with like, you know, the heels, the makeup, which by the way, I love and would die to see you that glammed up. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like sometimes we do that, and I do it sometimes too, where we present so far beyond what is considered to be in the binary that there's no question. There's no question. You can't question that I am cisgendered, or that I present as he, him, or that I'm masculine, or da 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 da. Like, I remember when I first wore a crop top on stream and I was petrified. And I felt like I had to justify wearing a crop top. And the only reason I wore a crop top was not because it was a crop top. It was because I liked the color. Like, I liked the color, and they didn't have it in a full shirt. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just buy the crop top. Like, I think that, interestingly enough, my fashion choices, I've never gone, oh, I wish I could wear a dress because that's how I would feel most comfortable. I like wearing dresses, but feel like I have to justify the fact that I just enjoy wearing a dress. It's not like I'm wearing a dress to express my identity or express my gender expression or anything like that. I just fucking think that dresses are awesome. I just think they're so cool. And I walked past a fashion store when I was getting sushi the other day with my mask on. Don't worry, with my mask on. And there was this like fully beaded gown. And I was like, oh. And I said to myself, and I said to the person I was with, I said, oh, I wish I could just walk in there and buy that dress without it being like a question, if that makes sense. So you've touched on a very interesting thing, that although, like, you know, you mentioned it may come across as materialistic, I think that clothing is such a clear expression of how you want to either feel or be perceived and whatnot. And I think that there's this underlying notion that if you're wearing clothing, it's for other people. And I think that's so bull, because, I mean, obviously we're taught that with like magazines and stuff. It's like, look at this person because what they're wearing is important, and da 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 da. But if I'm wearing a crop top, I'm not wearing a crop top because I want shock value or I want anyone to comment on it. I just fucking like the color. So I'm just going to wear the crop top. Or if I wear like my sequin jacket, I wish it wasn't such a statement, is what I think I'm trying to say. I wish it was just someone going, oh, wow, that's a fucking cool jacket. And I'm like, yeah, it fucking is. And it's also expensive. So if that kind of makes sense. So I think you've touched on some
Very
really interesting things that I think this liberation of identification and gender expression has been so fascinating to watch, because now people's arguments are always, oh, all of a sudden there's all these people, da, da, da. It's like, no, now they feel comfortable enough to say it, because you don't know where they live, and we're all stuck in our house. So they're gonna go by it. And to be honest, I must say, the only real argument that I've seen any people cling to is, oh, it's just too difficult to understand all these pronouns and da 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 da. I'm like, you've watched The Matrix. Don't fucking act like you don't have the mental capacity to understand concepts beyond what we currently know. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you can believe someone had tubes pulled out of their body because they were put by machines into a sleeping coma where they are living in a fantasy, you can understand adding they, them. Simple as that. Obviously, I know there are pronouns outside of those three. However, I just wanted to make it a very
much so
a point. Just think it's stupid. Yeah,
very much so.
But also thank you for your perspective on that, because obviously I don't have a lot of that kind of perspective within me, being a cisgender. And you know, that may change. I may further down the line realize that I do identify more as a they, them, but I've never once gone, I don't feel like he, him encapsulates everything I am. If that makes sense.
Exactly. Well, and that's why it sounds so silly. But I didn't realize that you could use 2 or more pronouns. I don't.
Well, it's because it's never taught to us, is it?
Exactly. And when I first started seeing it, I was like, oh, well, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And so I like that there's that option, because I do feel comfortable like being referred to as a woman, using gendered terms, like that makes sense for me. But also like when someone uses they them for me, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense too. You know what I mean? So it's several things. We all contain multitudes, as you said before when we got on here. You're like, we all contain multitudes. We're all multi-layered beings. I was like, yeah,
surrounded by my crystals.
That's exactly the energy.
Yeah, very much
yes, the
so.
crystals.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's very that sort of energy. And so yeah, it's been nice for me, and it's been something low key for me, because it doesn't feel like a big change for me, honestly.
Yeah.
It feels like something very small that you can or can't use, and I'm good either way. You know what I mean? And it's just sort of, I feel like it's something that's helps me, feel better, but it also is something that like I don't know. It's just something that works. I don't know.
Yeah, and I feel like you also don't have to explain that. If it works for you, it works for you, and you don't owe anybody the explanation as to why it does. To also point out, like I don't get offended when people use incorrect pronouns to me if they were to say they them or they were to say she her. But I think what people don't realize is that that's a very privileged position to hold. If you're like, well, it doesn't matter. Like, why are you being sensitive? Well, because you've never really had it questioned. And you're obviously comfortable with the labels that you've been given by society. And there are people out there who are not comfortable with the labels they've been given by society. So, of course, it matters to them. Like, words are really important. I watched this brilliant comedy stand-up special. I think it was Melbourne Comedy. And they were like, I have this uncle who just doesn't respect my pronouns. And, I've come out as trans and da-da-da-da-da. And he said that words, they're just words, they don't hurt. And then she said, well, I put those to the test. So I started introducing my uncle as a recently released sex offender. And it turns out the words do hurt. And I just thought that was fucking brilliant. I was like, yes, show them how stupid they are. Because they are, they're fucking stupid. No. Don't bully people, but also they're stupid.
No. But also some people, maybe need a little bit of a push.
And Rachel, hello. So I guess the next question to kind of keep, because I do have 3 more like big questions as well, and I don't want to make you stay up till 4 a.m. Do you find that people see themselves as entitled to an opinion on your body in regards to your sex, your body type, or your body positivity?
Yeah, hell yes. Now this is the bulk of my most recent activism, I think. Or even just the thing that has affected me most. So I don't even know where to begin on this, because I am obviously not skinny. I would be defined as obese, morbidly obese on the BMI scale, which is bullshit, by the way.
Yeah, fuck BMI the BMI scale. There's so much fat shaming just within that scale and the way that they describe that scale. Awful.
Oh yeah, it's essentially like eugenics. Like it's outdated, it's incorrect, it's an awful way of measuring a person's weight, right?
Or worth, because that's what they kind of attribute it to, isn't it?
Or worth, exactly. Yeah. And so I just want to like, no, I hate the term I've struggled with my weight. I hate that phrase. I hate struggle with weight, because it hurts. It hurts to me to know that our entire society is ruled constantly by whether or not you are skinny. And that has been my entire fucking life. When I was in high school, like I said, I went to a very gay high school, but there were a few little straights that, I pursued. But in my sophomore year,
I love that. A few little straights that I pursued, like you were hunting them down, like you were fucking Nancy Drew trying to sift through them, being like, I smell a straight.
It was rare. I'm telling you, it was rare. Oh my god. But anyway, so in my sophomore year, I lost a lot of weight. I exclusively wore glasses before then, so I had gotten contacts, and I dyed my hair
Okay,
blonde.
I'm so sorry.
So
I have to pause for
coming,
1 second. My cat is screaming at me, and I'm trying to listen to you, but all I can hear is her just going. So let me quickly go grab her so she can be shitty with me.
yes,
And I will.
love that.
Then I can continue. Give me 1 second. I'm surprised you like didn't hear it. Hi,
I actually didn't.
honey.
Also, hi chat. It's just us. You can be totally comfortable and talk to me. Okay, he's coming back.
It's okay. All right, my love. I'm so sorry. Please feel free to continue now that
okay.
I'm holding on to the devil herself.
No, it's okay. But anyway, so oh, hello.
Oh, that's not a cute sound. She's ready to kill me.
Oh no. But yeah, so I was just feeling fresh. I was feeling new. It was the skinniest I had been in my life, and I was like, I'm ready to come in with a vengeance this year. Watch out, two straight men that exist in this school. I'm coming for you. Like, so and it worked. It worked. It worked. I like had this like little not relationship, this little kind of secret hideaway fling with this dude, and it was the first time I had ever been looked at in like a sexual, sensual, kind of romantic way. And it was after I had gotten rid of the glasses. It was after I had gotten skinny. It was after I had dyed my hair blonde. It was this like, what the what? You know, what is it's the Alyssa Edwards. What the fuck is going on in here on this day?
Yeah, Alyssa, we love.
I know. Yeah. So I was just like, oh, okay, so this is what it takes. It was like affirming my suspicion.
Yes.
Because up until that point, I mean, middle school was rough. Middle school was hard. I was this, you know, chubby kid who had actually all the confidence in the world, but I would just get torn down. Boys would ask me out as a joke. I mean, like, I felt so unnatural. I felt so like, I was like, why don't people like me? I was like, it's what's not clicking. I was like, I'm in fucking show choir. Hello,
I'm the creme de la fucking creme. Oh, God.
I have the solo in Defying Gravity, and you're gonna tell me no?
Are you gonna bring me down?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
But no, so I mean, it was just like I didn't get what it was. I sincerely, I'm lucky enough to have parents who like supported me and uplifted me and told me like I was beautiful and that, you know, I was very smart and all these things. And so I felt like I had this confidence, but it was shot down.
Yeah.
It was like I was like, I just simply don't know what's going on. I was like, and they were like, oh, you know, you'll find somebody. It's other people. It's not you. And I was like, yeah. And so I was like, okay, let me go to high school. I go to a high school that I don't know many people. And I was like, okay, it'll happen for me here. This is high school. It'll happen for me here.
Yeah.
No, it did not. Not really.
Gays everywhere.
I had. Right, exactly. Well, and so I mean, what ended up happening was like, we just didn't have a like romantic relationship with this guy I was with, and like whatever else. And then I actually went on birth control my junior year, which caused me to gain more weight again. And like I also like started developing sort of like anxiety and depression and all these things, and I didn't realize it was related. And I also had a lot of acne, so then I went on this like crazy pill that like dried my skin out but got rid of my acne, you know. So I was just dealing with a lot.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, high school's ended. When I get to college, there's my time.
Yeah.
There's my time.
Yeah. No.
No. So I mean, like, I was just like, when is my time? It was Accutane. Sorry, I just saw your comment, Sarah. Yes, it was Accutane. That shit sucks. You had to get monthly. You had to prove that you weren't pregnant, and you had to get blood drawn every single month. You had to take a quiz on like sex. Like, if you wear a condom, is it all the way effective? And you had to be like, no. And that was only the women had to fill that out, by the way, actually.
Is this for the pill or is this for like the acne medication?
That was the acne thing. Accutane. Yeah. Horrid.
You have to know about
Awful.
condoms for acne medication?
You had to take a quiz every single month so you could get your new prescription. If you didn't take the quiz, you weren't able to get it. And it was about like sex ed. You had to make sure that you you weren't having like unprotected sex. Yeah.
So it's old men basically saying like, we want to make sure we're giving this to pure women.
Oh yeah.
Fuck that.
Pretty much. Exactly.
Fuck that.
Yeah, I mean, it was awful. It was a terrible experience, but it did clear up my acne. I mean, we can't be all the way mad at it.
When sexism works in your favor. Oh.
Yeah, no, literally. Exactly. Yeah, it was weird. But anyway, my point is, I just felt like, when is my time coming, you know? And then it was always led back to, okay, well, maybe I just need to lose more weight again. And my entire life has been that. My entire life has been like, okay, well, I just need to lose some more weight. And the thing is, it's reinforced by doctors. I've been having a back problem for the past like 4 weeks. I'm scared to go to the doctor because I don't want to walk out with my back problem unresolved and a pamphlet on how to lose weight. And that is the reality of when you are a bigger person. You go in for an issue that you're having, and they put you on the scale. They read your BMI, and then they're like, and what about diet and exercise? And you tell them, and it doesn't matter. I actually eat incredibly healthy.
I can
salads.
100% attest to this. While I was like setting up everything and doing like a sound check, full organic meal, like full organic was like marinated for like 24 hours, like prepared active organic meals. I can 100% attest to this.
It was a lemon rosemary chicken and potatoes. It was delicious.
Okay, and what was my fucking breakfast? Marshmallows. I had marshmallows. Granted, I only had 4, but you know.
But the thing is, it doesn't matter because I've been so many times. I was in a serious car accident in 2018. I was in a serious accident that has actually left my left knee cap like permanently. The bone is bruised. It's like forever. There's nothing. I went to PT. There's nothing they can do. So like that area is just like numb, and it really hurts when like you pushed in on it. But when I went to the doctor to have them check it out, they gave me a pamphlet on how to lose weight. It didn't matter.
Fuck the car crash. Fuck my trauma.
Yeah, it didn't matter. And the thing is, that has been across the board, like my experience with going to the doctors. And obviously, I believe in science. Obviously, I trust doctors, but it is so hard to, especially like now, I haven't been to a doctor since I've moved here, luckily. But like, I'm scared to go. I'm scared to go because I don't want to step on the scale.
Yes, we trust doctors. Yes, we trust science. But also, these scientists and these doctors don't come without a bias. They don't come without... I mean, we're not getting Gen Z doctors. We're still getting, you know... And by the time the Gen Z become the doctors, it's so many years down the line as well. So we're not getting these like... No, I'm not saying this as all doctors, but there's a lot of doctors that are not necessarily progressive thinkers. I had a doctor once think I had gay tonsillitis, and that the specific type of tonsillitis I had was because I was gay. And she was implying that because I was having like dirty sex, I was getting tonsillitis. I was like, I've been with someone for 2 years. I don't really think that this is dirty tonsillitis.
Sorry,
I think this is
awful.
tonsillitis. Yeah, but also like, it was funny because I wasn't shocked by it either.
Yeah,
I more just like nodded, smiled, and left and was like, never going back to that cunt. Like, I'm good.
Right.
So it's this interesting idea that like doctors, some doctors, not all doctors, and especially like general practitioners, because they see so many people, they carry so much of their own personal baggage, even in the way that they treat you or speak to you in the room. They're not like leaving their fucking racist shit at the door. They're in that room with their racist shit in their head, and they're treating people differently according to so. Like I've literally seen it, the way that a doctor has spoken to me versus the person after me who was either of color or was older or was younger or was a woman. The way that doctors speak to women versus the way they speak to men, regardless of sexuality, is horrendous. It is horrendous. And the way that anyone in a doctor's thing, the way a patient speaks to a female receptionist as if they know absolutely fucking nothing. And I'm sitting there going, are you sick or are you just a cunt? That's my question to you. Are you here to fix something or do you need to be fixed?
Yeah.
Question. So I think you're completely justified, and I don't think it's silly at all to say that you're scared of going to the doctor. I don't think that's stupid at all. I think that's perfectly valid.
Yeah.
Not that it's mine to validate, but...
No, it's okay. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's just like, And here's so a segue leading, so that is our basis of kind of what I'm about to get into. But my issue with the modern body positivity movement is that it's been co-opted by skinny people. Is that body positivity, we can say, yes, everyone should love their body, yes, and you should, right? Or I actually, even that, I'm kind of like adopting more body neutrality response, which is, if you don't know what body neutrality is, it's realizing that your body is actually just the least important thing about you. It's actually just, it actually doesn't matter that much. And if you don't love it, that's okay. You shouldn't feel pressured to love it. You shouldn't force it on yourself. Does it help if you tell yourself that you're the hottest being on this planet? Yes. But if you can't get there, that's okay. And like acknowledging that fact, right? But my issue with the modern body positivity movement is, besides that fact, it has been co-opted by skinny people, by this white sort of Eurocentric standard, right? It has been co-opted by this, you know, size 2, but when I crunch over, I have flab. Oh no. My body has flab constantly. I'm sitting here, I have flab. I stand up, I have flab. I run, I have flab. I have it all the time. So when size like 00 to size like 6 people, the standard of what we're fed through magazines, TV shows, movies, runways, whatever, is saying, oh, love your body, I have flab too, they're putting themselves above everyone else. They're like, oh, I'm beautiful, hot, and skinny, but when I do this, I look just like you. And it's very that energy. It reads as condescending. It reads as, it's not giving what they think it's giving.
Yeah.
So I didn't mean
I think
to
they're
use
struggling.
those kind of words,
I think
but
they're struggling to realize that there's a narrative that doesn't center them.
yeah, it's exactly that.
It's white
They struggle
people.
so much,
Yeah.
to decentralize yourself from a movement that is not about you. It's not about you.
It's like
And it
straight pride.
hurts. It,
Where's straight pride? Oh, I don't know.
Jesus. Right.
Look somewhere, you'll see it.
Right,
You'll
right.
find it.
Yeah. No, literally, literally, literally. Oh my God. And then it's like, sorry.
No,
I'll get
go
some
for
water.
gold. But yeah, I
this
get
topic
you.
makes me hot.
Yeah. But no, it's very much like you've said. It's this idea that people can't handle, that they are not necessarily all the rage at the moment in their terms. It's what they all say, you know, like, there was an interesting discussion ages ago about like, oh, you know, there's all this diversity coming up through the industry. I'm like, sorry, are you implying that this isn't something that should be, you don't like? Like, what's your complaint? Oh, we're losing jobs. Oh, oh, God. I'm not the white people losing jobs. Not the white people losing jobs, please.
Sound the alarms.
Like,
Ring the alarm.
honestly, it's very interesting. It's so ridiculous, isn't it? And you've made a great point that, you know, they're going, oh, look, I'm relatable. I can relate to you. I'm like, yeah, but I can't relate to you. That's the point. You can relate to me because you've got one role and I sneeze and everything's moving. Yeah, very interesting thing. So, by the way, that's a quote from my mum. Just FYI. She was having a go at something. She was saying something like, something like she saw someone complaining on Facebook. She goes, oh, she needs to shut up. I was like, no, maybe she's valid. And she goes, she's complaining about when she sneezes, she crunches over and there's a roll. And every time I sneeze, everything moves. And I was like, not everything. She goes, I pee. I pee.
Oh my God.
And I was like,
so
all right,
funny.
Carol.
That's such a mom thing.
Such a mum thing.
That's such a mom thing.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Just so anyone doesn't think that I'm talking about me and my body doing
yeah. All good, all good. But yeah, so for a while, and then this was a new term as well, I was going by the term mid-size because I am a size, I guess it's not universal, so this won't make sense to, I guess, European and Australian who don't have universal sizing, but I can usually go into a store and find something in an XL, an extra large, or a large for certain tops, and be okay. But sometimes I struggle to find like pants, or I struggle to find, you know, a skirt in my size, right? So I was going by this term mid-size, which sort of encapsulated not quite straight size, that you can always go into a store and find something yourself, but not quite plus size, where you're getting into this like super fat and finna-fat people who I mean, just have been historically erased from the narrative across the board in terms of fashion, beauty, and just sort of commerciality of marketing clothing, right? So I was sort of going by that. But then it was kind of like the term mid-size got picked up by sizes like 6 through 8, who kind of like still could easily pick up a medium shirt and like a large bottom and be good to go. Still not struggling like with the double XL, triple XL, and so on. You know, still not any of that. And so that got co-opted. And then you're hearing from plus size people that maybe the term mid-size actually isn't that helpful because it's distancing fat people from each other. So then it was disbanded.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there are new terms that people come up with every single day to try to
categorize
themselves. Excuse me, to try and categorize themselves because it's helpful, because it helps you kind of determine where you fit in, as well as finding people who look like you. But the thing is, and the thing that's the truth, is that, I mean, it doesn't matter, because I'm probably at my highest weight I've ever been because of the pandemic and everything else. I've just been incredibly sedentary. But I still love myself and all that good what and the other, but it doesn't matter, because even when I was like 40 pounds lighter in high school, I was still called fat. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I was called fat on the internet. I was called fat in real life. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because it's all the same. And that's the unfortunate thing. And so that is why I personally like to use the term fat liberation. Fat liberation is a phrase that was first coined by Black queer people in the 70s, 80s. Time frame I can't quite pin down, but there was a big march full of fat Black queer people in, I believe, Chicago or New York City, and they had a sit-in, and just the act of these fat Black queer people sitting down, like, there was a riot. There was a riot. And that is why I think we should return to that sort of fat liberation, because this sort of reclaiming of the word fat and what it means, I think, is important. And I think that instead of constantly being afraid of getting bigger, constantly being afraid of gaining weight, of becoming fat, that is fat phobia. That needs to be cut out. And diet culture, I mean, it's everywhere. It's constant.
It's consuming.
It's consuming, and guess what? It doesn't have to be that way. You can just let go of it. And I know it seems hard, and I know, like, you know, you want to be. There's a difference between being, you know, sort of consumed by diet culture and just like eating better because you want to feel better, right? Like, am I, you know, eating lemon, rosemary, chicken, and potatoes to lose weight? No. It's fucking good.
Yeah, it's delicious. Yeah.
It's delicious. And is it low calorie? Yeah, it is. But guess what? It's fucking good. And that's all that should matter.
Yeah.
You know, we only have so much time on this earth. If you're constantly worried about not living because you want to be skinnier, oh, you'll do this when you are skinnier. You'll wear this when you're skinnier. You know, you'll post this pic when you're skinnier. No. You're caught up in it, babe. I love you. Post that pic. Wear that bikini. Don't do it. Don't let them get you. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's so taxing. It is tiring. And, you know, I think that a lot of the time you just are searching for this cure. You're searching for weight loss pills. You're searching for, you know, you're doing the keto diet. You're doing whatever, you're caught up in it, and it sucks. It sucks so bad. You know, I go home and my sisters are like, oh, I'm doing this. I'm trying this. Or my mom is like, oh, we can't eat this. Grammy, my grandmother, one Thanksgiving was like, oh, we won't be having the cauliflower with cheese because it's going to be too fatty. And it's like, what? The cauliflower with cheese was a tradition.
Fucking delicious.
You know what I mean? Like, let
Put
it go.
On my table.
Like, let it go. Right. I was like, of course I want everyone to feel their best, but it's like, it's taxing. It is tiring to just be constantly worried about how your body looks, how other people are perceiving your body. But guess what? That's on them. That's on them. There's always going to be an issue with someone else looking at you. But you know what? If you're feeling your oats, or if you're feeling neutral about your body, it's the least interesting thing about you. You know what I mean? And so that's why when someone comes into my chat, or just on the internet in general, and they're like, I love your confidence, it feels almost like a double-edged sword. Because it's like, yes, I am confident, but like, I have worked on this confidence my entire life. If I am not confident, the entire facade fades away. It's done. It's done. You know what I mean? I have gotten over the fact that I don't have to dress like this on stream. I'll just wear like a t-shirt and like my little gym shorts, you know what I mean? And I'm fine with it now. But at first I wasn't. Because I felt like I really had to perform in order to reach this certain level of like just like beauty, because it feels like when you're fat, it takes more for people to accept you. You know what I mean?
Yes, that as a general consensus is something I've heard from a lot of people who are larger, or as you're saying. Oh, I do have a question actually, an interesting thing. You've spoken all about like fat liberation and reclaiming that term. The idea, I'm assuming, of that is that term is to be reclaimed by people who identify as fat, and it's not to be reclaimed or be like, I guess what I'm saying is like, where then do we draw the line? Because I also want to make sure that I'm being respectful, and I don't identify as feeling overweight or obese, and I certainly, I'm just going to fucking say it. I'm not overweight and I'm not obese, and I have no right to put myself in that category. So within that, where does the line kind of come where, as let's say, without making it sound like it's this, thing that we're all fighting for, where do I, as an ally for my larger friends or my larger community, where do I fall into that fat liberation, and what is it that we can do as people from the outside looking in to help you guys?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think it comes down to like, if you have a favorite shop or a store and they only carry up to a size large, I think you really have to question, would you ever bring one of your larger friends into that store? No. That would be incredibly uncomfortable because they wouldn't be able to find anything.
Yeah.
So it's sort of taking a look at your own shopping habits or your own spaces and like seeing, would this work for my larger friend? And if the answer is no, then it's like, consider kind of like, one, definitely don't bring them there. Because even like a lot of infrastructure also is just working against us. My mom is also a larger woman, and we'll go to a restaurant and some chairs are so small and so fragile, and they're metal, and so they're digging into her size. So even our infrastructure sometimes is just not conducive to larger body sizes, and it's like it's hurtful. You know what I mean? I don't want to see my mom in pain when we're eating fucking pizza. That sucks. You know what I mean? It's like, you have to consider these things that normally maybe straighter sized people, skinny people would not consider. You have to kind of look around sometimes and look for these specific things, and no one talks about it because it's hard to talk about. It's hard to say, oh, this doorway is incredibly narrow, or this toilet is really low to the ground. And that's a very real thing. Toilets that are really low to the ground, that's a lot of effort to get all the way down and get all the way back up. You know what I mean? It's very small things.
But they add up. They do add up. It is a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think overall, I mean, just like, be more aware of surroundings. I think it's more just like, would my fat friend be able to fit in here? Would my fat friend be able to shop in here? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Is it accessible for everyone, or is it just accessible for me?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, because obviously, like, my whole kind of thing is to make sure that people feel better than when they arrived at my place. I want to make sure that I'm doing that for everyone, regardless of whether it, whatever it is you're coming into my stream to feel better about. I need to also make sure I account for that, and which is a huge thing I think that people are seeing in Gobby's Next Top Model, is that, we're kind of pushing, and I know it seems stupid because it's like, oh, it's like a little show on the internet, but it's important, I think, for me to see that everyone is being represented in this show. Yes, it is like a little show on the internet, but it's also a little show on the internet that people get really excited for. I get so excited for, and I love seeing people celebrating every model that comes in, regardless of what they're wearing, what their body size is, the color of their skin, all of that stuff. It's so important for me to make sure that this show is as diverse as possible in every way possible, and not filling a diversity quota, but looking at it and going, okay, which one of these do I really think we haven't seen before in the show?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the interesting thing is one of the more recent winners, Miss Krispy Kreme.
Oh, I was there. I was there for Miss Krispy Kreme.
Miss Krispy Kreme came in and just blitzed this competition, and not once did anyone acknowledge, or not once did it matter that Miss Krispy Kreme was larger. Not once did it matter that Miss Krispy Kreme had green skin. Not that there are too many people out there in the world that have green skin, but the fact that like these differences don't have to always be acknowledged and plastered and posted as this whole thing. I think what's interesting is that at least from what I've seen in Australia, there are particular stores that are specifically for plus size people. Now, the thing that I see could be an issue is that for someone to have the confidence to walk into a store that is literally saying you are plus size, you don't have other stores that you can go to. So we've created this. That in itself is a problem. I don't see why companies can't create clothing for all sizes. I don't understand that. Why is it that people who are larger have had to have their own stores created? No one's creating like, a queer only confectionery store. No one's doing that. It's not a thing. And if someone suggested that queer people should have their own place to shop for clothes, I'm like, can you imagine the response that people would have? It's like, oh, look, sorry, queer people, we don't have clothes for you, but there are other alternatives. Riots. We'd be up in arms. But as soon as it comes down to this, there's so much. I think you kind of touched on it quite well. There's so much shame within.
So much.
There's so much shame within that culture that it's kind of being shamed into acceptance or shamed into silence of going, well, this is just how it is. And I think the fucked up thing is it's not how it has to be. It's just what skinny people and what, these generic healthy bodies, as everyone keeps trying to call it, because apparently anything outside of the norm is unhealthy, even though everywhere you look, the norm is fucking everything. That's the frustrating thing is people go, it's not normal. I'm like, name one instance where you've been in and you've only seen skinny people or white people or cisgendered people, and it's not been a fucking elitist event. Name one place.
Right.
Go to the grocery store. Tell me who you see. Go to the hairdresser. Tell me who you see. Walk into malls. Tell me who you see. I think it's very.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think you've made some great points, and thank you for your perspective on that as well, because obviously
of course.
It's again wonderful to have you and your voice and your perspective and your experiences to help further not only educate like me, but to anyone who ever watches this, maybe later on down the track when it's on YouTube or whatnot, someone might come across and be like, oh, I didn't realize that. Because I've learned a lot through being educated. I think is the light way of saying people calling me out for my shit. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot from that. I learned a lot about pronouns through Gobby's Next Top Model, of people saying, hey, it'd be really great if we could have their pronouns, and me knowing nothing about it, being like, oh, okay, yeah, he, him, she, her. And then people going, well, we're not seeing a lot of they, them. And I'm sitting there going, what's that? And learning about it literally through Twitch, because I come from a relatively conservative background in terms of predominantly white area, predominantly affluent area, predominantly cisgendered area, not very queer, inclusive, not like very fat phobic, very transphobic, that whole shebang, and having like kind of moved away from that and not living in that area has kind of. And that's not to say everyone from that area I grew up in was like that, but yeah, the internet is a wonderful place, and I love people pooling knowledge together to help each other. It's very, very helpful.
Me too.
So I had a few other questions. However, I know that I don't want to take away from the big conversations we've had with gender expression and fat liberation. I don't want to take away from those conversations by kind of convoluting it with two other very big topics like we discussed before. So maybe I'll just have to have you on again and we can fucking talk about the other ones as well. Oh, who probably knows?
No.
So I wanted to open up questions to any of our guests, and I know this has been a very relatable topic for a lot of you guys in terms of gender expression and fat liberation, because I know that my community is really built up of of a lot of different people from a lot of different countries, from a lot of different backgrounds, from a lot of different experiences, which again is something I love and celebrate, that there's a place where people from so many different walks of life can kind of come and find like a common ground and a common place. So is there anything that you guys have to ask Kaylin? Again, don't ask me these questions, ask Kaylin, because these are topics that Kaylin knows about and that I'm actually being educated on as we speak. And she's glowing, and they're glowing.
Yeah, I had to fix the light.
Look at that highlight. Jeffree Star's mansion just got slightly bigger.
Oh my god, it's actually milk makeup. Hold on. Oh dear Lord, it's the moon.
Can you say it's the moon?
Yes. It's milk.
I love it. But if you guys have any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat now so we can ask. But while we're waiting on that, I just want to thank you so much for coming on and being such a fantastic person. Like, not even just like as a guest, which you are fantastic, but being a fantastic person. I think it's so wonderful to see someone so unapologetically being like, these are my things. This is what I do. This is what I feel. This is how I am. And if you don't like it, then I won't shed a fucking tear. So enjoy your day. Like that kind of vibe. I really appreciate that, because I think people really perceive me as this like overly confident, nothing gets to me, da 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 da. But I'm like, come on, we all know fucking better than that. There's things we're all worried about and insecure about, and it's so lovely to see someone else show their I don't know if it's a word, but like fallibility, the fact that they're not perfect. It's so comforting for someone to be like, hey, like this is who I am, and I've got this shit that I deal with, and that's kind of cool, because sometimes it can feel quite isolating when you're obviously a streamer, literally releasing everything about your life kind of in one go, and everyone's like, oh, thank you for letting me know. I'm like, you're welcome. Don't hurt me with this information. Don't come at me in 10 years with this information.
No, literally.
So hang on a second. Here we go. Going into college, when you got contacts and lost weight and dyed your hair, did you ever feel like you were not, that you were living not for yourself, but society, to get people to be more drawn to you?
It was high school. So I was 16, 17. And I was young. And I mean, I'm a hopeless romantic. And, you know, I've been with my boyfriend for over 2 years, so I'm all good now. But I mean, I loved Disney, and I loved watching these shows. I loved watching the Hallmark Channel with my mom. You know what I mean? So I had this idea, that it would all just happen for me. I had this idea that, so it wasn't even that like I felt like I was like, oh, I'm doing this because of society. It felt like, oh, I do these things because it's the formula. Because I lose weight, check. I dye my hair, check. And I get contacts, check. And I'm good. And then the men will flock. And the suitors will line up. And then I can decide. And then, you know, one of them will run to me at the airport when I'm going off to like the place I want to be. And then we'll live happily ever after. I'll choose him and not go. And that's what's going to happen. And then that's not what happens. It's not what happens. You know what I mean? I had a brief high school fling with someone who is actually now like my best friend, one of my best friends in real life. But like I had a brief moment where I felt like I got to experience this thing that the popular girls got to experience, and where I got to experience this thing that the skinny girls felt.
This,
I got
like,
to experience this thing
kind of thing.
Right, this thing that felt like the high school, exactly. This high school experience that I felt like a whole bunch of other like skinnier girls were having, and that I felt so excluded from, especially in middle school, because like I said, I was bullied in middle school, man. It was not good, and the thing was, I was like just so confused. And so in high school, even though I was so young, I did feel like, you know, I felt like I had more experience than middle school. So I was like, oh, okay. So like, exactly what is it? It has to be me then. It has to be me. But you know, I go back and forth now between like dyeing my hair, wearing contacts, not wearing contacts. And now it's just kind of like, do I have the energy to put on my contacts? Do I have the money to go to the salon and dye my hair? No.
So
now it's just a matter. No, literally. So now it's just kind of like, oh, do I feel like doing whatever? And now it's just kind of like being comfortable with who I am and realizing that if you are seriously not gonna get on board with me as a person because I am too fat for you,
Get
you're
off my fucking
fucked.
train. Yeah, get off my fucking train.
You're crazy. Like, no offense, and I don't like to use that word too much, but like psychosis.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
This
That's
interesting
crazy
thing
to
that
me.
you have to adapt to make other people more comfortable is so strange, especially on a platform where if you're not comfortable, leave. People have this idea that like, like it's like when people come in and question, because I mean the thing that I relate to the most, I guess, with that kind of experience is when people come in and they question like your queerness, or they want to know about your queerness, or your queerness is the only thing about you that's worth talking about, and you're sitting there going, if you want to talk about that, go find a podcast that discusses queerness. I'm playing Minecraft right now, and I'm really trying to get my moss to grow. So I would appreciate if you'd let me grow my moss and my queerness without you fucking hounding me for the information.
Literally.
No, but I get that. I am similar to you in that I don't like to use the word crazy. I feel like in quite a few years, that word is going to be very not okay. That word is not going to age well. There is currently like this, you know, I don't want to say movement, but there's kind of this a larger growing acceptance for mental health and for making sure that we're including the people who are not necessarily quote unquote, and I also hate the word stable, because implying that anything other than being in complete control is unstable is a really unstable way to proceed with talking about mental health. But this idea that if you're not all with it, or if you do have some sort of mental illness, I also don't like calling it mental illness. It's just like, you're not sick. You're not sick.
Oh, yeah.
If you have anxiety, you're not sick. You have anxiety, and that's okay. And I also, don't get me started, because this is a whole other, I'll have to have you back. There's a whole other thing where people go, oh my God, I literally have anxiety right now.
Ooh.
People have this very interesting thing with terminology where they think, oh no, I'm freaking out. I have anxiety right now. Hold up.
Yes.
Hold up. You're feeling anxious. And we need to really be very careful about how we distinguish these. Or when they go, oh my God, I was so depressed when that happened. I was like, so were you suffering from depression and that happened? Or you're miscommunicating that something bad happened and you felt upset about it? And if you did, and if it is a thing where it's, oh no, you know, that did send me into a depression, very different thing to going, oh my God, I was so depressed. Or when people go, I was so depressed when my favorite movie franchise finished. I was like, okay, so let's talk about that. Because that's not, you don't just drop depression in a conversation and we don't talk about where it's come from or how you dealt with it or anything like that. People are just a little bit too liberal, I think, with using terms that mean a lot to other people. And that kind of, again, ties into this idea of pronouns and things that people go, oh, like she, they, what, yeah, whatever. No, not whatever. Oh my God. Kay, look what we have. No, Kay, bring it back. Kay, bring it back. We were just graced with the smallest penis I've ever seen from your saucy baby.
I actually did see it.
You did?
I have chat up. Like, I did get to see it. Yes. Oh my God. I'm honored.
Guys.
I'm honored. I am taken.
Ooh. Hopefully not by your saucy
Not by that.
BB. Yeah. Anyway, but no, going away from penis liberation is an entirely different topic. We definitely need to, for the beautiful yes OCBB, we definitely need to liberate your penis, because clearly it's just very tightly wound at the moment. So
and real quick sorry.
No, you go.
Okay, real quick to add on that before we get to, because I see Ezra has a question too. Real quick to add on to what you were just saying about that terminology about feeling something. I'll say this and then we'll move on. But it is very similar to people saying, I feel fat. No. Fat is not a feeling. You do not feel fat. You are or you aren't. And that was something I'm actually meant to say, but you just reminded me of that.
That's a
so
great
don't
point.
say that. All right, but yeah, that's that. Okay, so
you can see the chat, so I would love if you would pick your questions, because I don't want to like skip any ones that you're like, oh no, I do have something to say on that one. We'll probably have time for one or two more, so I don't literally destroy your voice.
Have you found any ways to cope with overcome the toxic diet culture so heavily ingrained in society? When people bring up their diets to me, I just politely try, because you can tell it means a lot to people, and for some, there's no there's no real argument there. So sort of just like if it's someone who you feel like you can talk to, who you it's like a friend who's like really into a certain diet or something right now, just sort of like I would just try to help them and be like, hey friend, like, is this coming from a place of you or a place of,
External.
toxic diet culture? Yeah, exactly. But I think personally for me, it's just been like knowing that it's out there, knowing of its existence, pinpointing where it is in advertisements and in grocery stores and everywhere else, I think has been really helpful for me. And something I want to touch on for if we do want to get into it next time, I took this fascinating class in college called The Myth of the Mad Woman. And it's all about how women are portrayed as crazy and how women need to have a cure for these illnesses that make them mad. And so I think actually that class helped me with like realizing how many cures are tailored to us, how many cures are portrayed as this helpful thing and that we need them. And so recognizing, a bottle of weight loss pills as a cure and saying, no, no, that's just part of this culture and I don't need that. You know what I mean? So it's just sort of like acknowledging it, knowing of its existence and saying like, I don't need to partake in that. That's something that's being sold to me that I do not need to buy. I'm good on my own. You know what I mean? And of course, it's more easier said than done. I just want to throw that out there. It's definitely more easier said than done. And I'm also realizing now my camera is not in focus. That's cool.
I think while you're doing that, I think what's interesting is that, funnily enough, that is a thing that we've seen in history. When I was actually watching a YouTuber, Bailey Sarian, who does Murder Mystery Makeup Mondays. I talk about this all the time. I think that is a fucking brilliant show. The Salem witch trials was a way to control women entirely. If someone accused a woman of hysteria, it was also used as a religious thing of, oh, she's possessed. She's hysterical. Yeah. She's possessed. And this idea of hysteria actually comes from a religious context of she has the devil inside her. Same thing with like nymphomania and things like that. When back in the day, when people would perceive a woman who was comfortable with sex and having sex and enjoyed having sex, it was conceived, or it was perceived, not conceived. That's definitely not the word I should be using when I'm talking about sex. It was perceived as sexual hysteria or sexual mania or sex addiction or da-da-da. And obviously sex addiction is a real thing, but enjoying sex and this idea of shaming women for having sex when men are celebrated, not accepted, celebrated for being a fuckboy, enjoying sex, having multiple sexual partners, this very, very interesting thing. Whenever there's a threesome with two men and one woman, the person who's shamed is the woman. Always.
Of course.
Always. And I'm sitting there going, you do realize that's 1/3 of this equation. And also, what's wrong with having a threesome? Also, that's coming from someone who's never had a threesome. But if I was to have a threesome, fuck off, don't shame me. That kind of vibe. So it's a very interesting topic. I need to have you back on because we've like scratched the surface. We've like scratched the surface. Very much so. Because, I mean, for those who don't know, because no one knows, the other questions I had, which we will get into in another episode, I also realized how pale I'm currently looking with this fucking lighting. I look like I'm fucking dying by a second, fossilizing in front of our eyes. I've also got questions that say, how do you find the film industry depicts BIPOC and queer folks in film? And specifically, do you think these depictions or tropes contribute to continued racism and homophobia within the industry? Big fucking topic there. What are your thoughts on companies and corporations who employ the tactics of using a pink tax to increase profit margins? Is this something we are seeing companies move away from, or is sexism still a huge problem in capitalism? Big fucking topics, which is, again, hopefully...
Absolutely monstrous.
Yeah, as you can see, like, I don't want to convolute the great conversations we've been having about the two topics we've been discussing with two other major topics that kind of need their own time and space. Yeah. So I'm definitely going to have you back on, and that is to the joy of myself. Whether that's like a bonus Gettin Gobby episode maybe one time as opposed to... Because Gettin Gobby is currently, for those who don't know, booked out till like October, which is crazy. But I don't want to like wait till October to continue these conversations. So we might have to find another time if you're up for it and you're free. To like
up for it
to kind of touch on some other topics. I think hopefully what you guys are getting, what things that I'm getting as well, is that that you this is kind of why I wanted to do the show, is that there's so much to people outside of just being a streamer and just playing games. As a streamer, we have thoughts, we have opinions, and I think it's so important that there's at least somewhere where we can go, hey, these are my thoughts and feelings outside of me playing Stardew Valley and falling in love with Shane because he has a drinking problem. Like that kind of vibe.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Right.
So if there are any other questions that you have seen that you would like to answer, feel free to make it the last dance. Is that a Rihanna song? Oh no, that's the last song. The last song. Oh. Funnily enough, being the last song on the album.
There's just a fun one from my friend Julian, actually. What's your favorite tattoo, and do you plan on getting another anytime soon, perhaps for any upcoming milestones?
Yes. Let's hear it.
Okay, so my favorite tattoo, I don't, is there a safe for work position for me to get into without hold up.
Wait. Oh yes. What'd you do? Kicked yourself? It's okay.
I pulled a muscle. Hold on.
Yeah, we're waiting. We're getting. Oh yes. We're getting the full experience. Yes.
Get the full experience. Get into it.
Yes.
Actually, I can probably just like take my camera. Hold on. You know what?
I'm now just seeing as you're moving around. I'm seeing how many tattoos you do have.
I do. I have a couple. I can say I have tattoos now. I feel like I had one and I was like, I have a tattoo, and then you have two, and it's like.
I actually, funnily enough, didn't notice you had like any. I didn't even notice you had tattoos, even though obviously there's one now that I'm seeing it right on your shoulder, and one between your breasts as well, which I didn't notice either, and one on your arm.
Yep.
I'm so boring.
No, I've got a couple.
I've got one, and it's a quote on my arm. I could not get any gayer, my lord.
No, I love it. I'm here for it. Well, okay. My favorite one is on my leg, but it's difficult to kind of maneuver at this moment. So I will just say this is my newest one that I have to get touched up, but it's the Aries constellation. I'm gonna bring this light back here. Oh wait, there she is. Aries constellation with Navi from Ocarina of Time.
I've heard of this.
Yeah, Navi. It's like your partner from Ocarina of Time on my wrist. So, or palm. But yeah, so that's I guess my second favorite. But I love it. And then my for any upcoming milestones, my friend Julian, he thinks he's funny.
You're funny, baby.
He's funny. But so my goal is, if I reach, and this is a big goal, this is a stretch goal, but if I reach 50 subs this month, I'm gonna get my funnelkaek sub badge tattooed.
Fuck yes! Team, you heard it here first. If you want to see that tattoo, get to the Sabu. I'm sorry, I tried to make it rhyme. I'm not Dr. Seuss. We can't.
It almost happened. It was
Sorry, I really don't want to talk about.
But yeah. That's okay.
Not to cry. Speaking of that, my cat, I can smell him, has come in and farted.
I'm weak. Oh, Sarah, that's so sweet.
Disgusting. Gives 50 subs on. No, don't fuck with Sarah. She will do that. But also, again, I wanted to say a massive thank you for you coming on. Like, I know that usually I pitch this show at about an hour to hour and a half, but sometimes when we get into topics, I don't want to like cut it short, and I don't want to. I like having these conversations, and obviously like the guest is free to end the stream at whatever they want. But thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate your perspective and your insight. And I remember when I was looking at yourself, I was like, wow, she's 23. I was like, she's got so much knowledge for such like for a 23-year-old, because I mean, I'm 24, but I personally don't feel like I'm that enlightened. I feel very out of touch with a lot of up and coming terminology. And when I say up and coming terminology, I mean up and coming in terms of it being normalized and used more often and that kind of stuff. So thank you for your perspective and your knowledge on all of that stuff, because it really does actually help me become a better person, but also like a better ally for a whole array of people across non-binary, across larger, all of these bits and pieces. So thank you for coming on with that knowledge, because it means a lot to me personally. I can only imagine how much it means for the communities and the people that you're actually speaking for and speaking about.
Of course. And I mean, it's at the forefront of who I am. I mean, I've talked so many times about my gay high school, but that shit, I mean, my dad used to call me elitist because he would be like, oh, like this is not how the world is. And at the time I was like, okay, whatever, dad. But I was in a bubble. And when I got out and realized like not everyone was gay or queer in some way.
What?
What?
All the walls! They're closing in on me! I don't know what's happening!
I was like, I genuinely, I was just so confused. And then to realize that people had these opinions about Black people and Indigenous people, and I was like, oh my God, this isn't just parody. This is real.
Yeah.
So it was almost like a startling realization for me, as weird as it sounds, for me to realize this. And then I was like, okay, well, this is just, I don't know. It has to. And I have to put this out there. And like, I also just want to encourage that I obviously do not know everything. Like, I'm still straight, I'm still white, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, 100%.
I do not pretend to be the voice piece for, people of color or gay people either. So, I just, throw that out there. But I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. Like I said before, like this was like such a dream come true for me because you were one of the first people I saw on Twitch. And I was like, this is exactly the environment that I personally also would love to cultivate. And not only that, but just a fabulous place to be in, a place where I feel 100% comfortable to be myself in, to chat and to lurk or just to interact with. Like this in what you've created to me is something so special and such like a beautiful place, beautiful little corner of the internet where it is bright, colorful, chaotic, fun, and just fancy free. And I feel so safe and so comfortable here. And for me to be a part of it like today was just
That is so very lovely. I'm going to sidestep that compliment by saying that it's all comes down to the beautiful people that find me and the kind of environment and vibe that we create as a team. That's why I call them team. It's why I also, when we hit particular milestones of, particular amounts of follows or anything like that, I always say that we've got X amount of team members because it's not just people following me. It's us as a collective. I can't do this as a full-time job without my beautiful community, and without my beautiful community, I don't have a place to go to every day. I don't have people to create content for. I don't have people to help smile, and it's just me in my room with my cats. So, thank you. I really appreciate those kind words, and I think a lot of it actually comes down to how wonderful the people are that watch me, and how lucky I am to have found so many incredible people who all share similar values and similar morals in terms of acceptance and diversity, and it's like a tub. And you also can roast the shit out of my hairy ass. I absolutely love it. But again, thank you so much. And team, if you have not gone to check out funnelkaek, you absolutely have to. I don't even need to try and convince you. This conversation is convincing enough. Like, this is, I cannot wait for one day, and it will happen, for someone to come across this video and share it around to someone else who shares it around to somewhere else, and it just takes off and people go, who the fuck is this wonderful person and why have we never seen them before? God. And then on the side, they're like, get rid of the white guy, he's fine. So I cannot, I cannot wait for you. And I know you're a new streamer, but let me tell you right now, with the way that you view streaming and the way that you see people, it's a matter of time before at some point you take off. It's a matter of time. Whatever takeoff means for you, whether that be a viral moment or whether that be a steady growth, whatever that means for you, it will happen, because I think your intentions are right with it. You're not here to become famous. You're not here to get those views. You're not here to get that cash money. You're here for like an experience and to create and be creative and connect. And I think that's a very important thing that a lot of people don't realize about streaming, is they watch someone that they really love streaming and they go, oh my God, I want to stream too, because they see accolade, or they see some sort of financial gain that could come from it, or they see some level of like acceptance or appreciation that person is receiving. And I think if you go into streaming with that, you're going to be sorely disappointed. And I know for a fact, because that's initially why I started streaming. I was like, I see Julian Solomita do it, I can do that too. And I started and I was like, I can't do this. This is really hard. It's really hard. And
It
then
is hard.
I kind of stopped for a second and went, okay, well, what am I really doing this for? What am I doing this for? Oh, I'm in a pandemic. I'm alone. I'm in a relationship where I'm not getting any sort of communication or friendly gratification, I guess you could say. I wasn't like talking to a friend. I was talking to someone who I hated, which is a whole other stream in itself. And then I was like, okay, well then what can I bring people? Like no one's coming to watch me to play a game. No one's coming here to be like, oh my God, I cannot wait to watch this specific person play this specific game, and only then will I watch them. So I was like, fuck, what can I do? Well, I could probably try and help someone or improve their fucking life. Have you tried that, Aaron? And when I had that like hard conversation with myself, I was like, oh, hang on. Oh, that's what this is about. This is about actually like helping someone, because that actually also in return makes me feel great.
Yeah.
And what can I say? I'm also
Exactly
like,
that.
I'm also just like the fucking best person in the world ever. And like everyone should be like watching me. I'm surprised that I only have like 500 viewers. I should be having about like, I don't know, like, you know how YouTube videos get millions? I should have that every time I go live. I'm just saying.
That
just
live.
Live.
Right.
All the time. Very much so. But no, I'm joking. If anyone worried, I'm fucking joking. I also don't have 500 viewers. Thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. If you'd like to have a little look-see for who you'd like to go and raid, I'd love to see who we're going to go send some love over to. And again, if you have not gone to check out Funnel, you absolutely must. This person is wholesome, wonderful, brilliant. And like I said, the whole damn fucking meal. So please, 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 go and check out this beautiful person.
Baby.
Yeah, baby. So thank you, my love. I will pop over to the screen to kind of finish off, and thank you. I know I've said it a million times and you're like, dude, we fucking get it. Thank you so damn much. Do you have anything to say? Do you have any projects coming up? Any new things coming out? What are you playing this week? Tell us.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, Thursday, we just switch it up Thursdays. I'm in Eastern Standard Time, so that won't necessarily mean a lot to you. But
Maybe.
if you check my schedule page, it should be okay. At 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I do switched up Thursdays, and we've just started Twilight Princess, my favorite Zelda game.
Ooh.
So we're doing that on Sundays. That's when you raided. We were playing Twilight Princess. That's my favorite one.
Which is your favorite one? I remember it being your favorite one.
Yes. And then on Fridays, I typically do my co-op Stardew Farm, also at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But not this week because it's my mom's birthday.
Happy birthday to Mom. Happy birthday,
yeah,
Mom.
so I have to go home and celebrate, right? Yeah, so that's exciting. But that's kind of it. And then I've got my like July goals. And that's kind of it though. Just doing my thing.
I cannot wait to watch you do your thing and then watch you go above and beyond anything that you think you're even capable of, because I know that you know you're capable of a lot, but I think you're also a little bit too humble in where you see yourself and your success. So I cannot wait to watch you just fucking skyrocket, and I cannot wait to at one point be really jealous of how wonderful you are. Because we all get it. I'm watching your streams, I'm like, fuck you and being brilliant. Fuck you. So my love, thank you so much for today. I really appreciate it. Have a lovely rest of your night.
And thank you, chat. Bye.
Bye. Let me know who we're raiding, please. I'd love to meet some of your friends.
I sent it on over.
Oh, you done it? Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, my love.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Alrighty.
The talk show.
Oh.
Getting Gobby. Welcome to the talk.
Too many bloody buttons. Too many bloody buttons. Team, can I just say, what a fucking episode. Holy crap. I just want to pick their brain. I want to pick it so fucking much. Can we please get another massive lot of love and appreciation for the incredible funnelkaek, Kaylin, for today and coming onto the stream and being so generous with their time and their knowledge, and for being so personable and for being so, how do I even say it? For being so open and authentic with who they are, where they came from, and what made them the way that they are, what inspired them to be as they are. So I just, I love it. I love it. Hopefully you guys can see, like, as soon as I saw Funnel stream, I was like, nah, this person is the fucking bomb.com. This person is the real deal. I need to have them on the show. It was very selfish, but yeah, I needed to. So I'm going to end that there today. I want to thank you guys so much. And I have a bit of an updated Patreon credits. So while I'm thanking my beautiful mods for their amazing job today, thank you so much. Here are some Patreon credits for the beautiful members of my Patreon community. I am so proud of my little Patreon community. It's like my little baby project. I'm growing it slowly, trying so hard to like put as much value into it as possible. I'm making little changes and bits and pieces. I'm finally getting around to it. I cannot wait. It's a cult. It's a cult. So here are the beautiful Patreon credits with some updated, because they're different from yesterday. Yes, I updated them again. You're welcome. So thank you to my beautiful naughty tip Patreons, Cakes, and also thank you to my naughty small bean tier. We changed it to the Jonah, Margaret, Chibi, and Spicy Leia. Thank you also to my incredible You're in Trouble tier Patreons, Siani S, Ezra W, and Karnui, and to my top damn tier Patreons, a big fucking trouble tier with the Carol emote. Thank you, Sarah the Scientist, Lauren H, and Catherine B for your incredible support over on the Patreon. It means the absolute world. Thank you guys so much. I also I feel like I should have like little music that goes along with those credits, but for the time being, we ain't got it. It's fine. So we are going to go and raid the beautiful Barblo or Barblue. If you guys are interested in seeing this episode again or looking back on this episode, it will be published on my Patreon today, but it will be public on YouTube as well. So if you are interested, please feel free to go and check out my social links. It'll have my YouTube as well. It'll be the GobbysGayming YouTube channel, and you absolutely have to go and see this incredible creator, funnelkaek. Please. I cannot speak about them highly enough. I really can't. They are actually, without being that whole like gross fangirling thing, I'm obsessed. Like, I'm obsessed with this beautiful creator. So guys, thank you for today. I appreciate it. I will see you all over, and over where? Aaron, where are they going to see you? Tomorrow. I think I'm playing It Takes Two tomorrow with the beautiful Mithla. I believe so. I love that game. Just please no more animal murder. So let me play the theme song, and then I will see you guys all later. Bye, everyone.
Welcome to the talk show, Gettin Gobby, the show where we talk about things.
Bye, everyone.